hosting in the masterclass, streams of the masterclass too, Jen. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this impromptu pop-up workshop today we're going to do. I'm going to go live on Instagram if I could figure out how to go live, because you can't share to there, which is it's just painful for me. Okay, here we are. I'm going to go live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We're so happy to have everyone. We're going to do some coaching today. Everybody loves the coaching part of my workshop. So I want you to raise your hand if you'd like to be coached today. Today's theme is going to be specifically on mindset. For all of our Instagrammers, welcome. If you are here on Instagram and you would like to get coached, today I'm doing a workshop that's starting right now for teaching you about the champion mindset you need to have as a parent of a child with autism. We are going to put the link to join us in the comments of the Instagram. It's also in my bio. Make sure that you join us, because if you join us and you raise your hand, I'm going to be coaching live today. And today's topic is actually very sensitive for me, but it's necessary. Anytime I feel vulnerable about talking about something, that's when I'm like, you have to do this training. And the reason why this is kind of sensitive to me is I'm like a doer. I'm like a Viking action taker. And because I love to take lots of actions, for me in particular, I've learned over the years that I take lots of action because I don't want to feel anything. And that's probably the worst way to do shit, because you're expending a lot of energy here, when I can actually, if I could actually sit and I can think about the thoughts that are running in my head as a parent that now has a child diagnosed with autism and how that makes me feel. Maybe if I could work on that first, I can take action. So I'm a tactical beast. A lot of parents come to me saying, I need you to help me create a blueprint to teach my child how to communicate. I need a blueprint to get my child 7 years old, 10 years old, 21 years old to finally go pee and poop on the potty. That's my jam. But one of the things we're going to teach you today, which is what I do in my masterclass, and we're already getting people asking about the masterclass. I'm going to share information on how you can join that later, but this is a big part of that. It's like almost the heart of everything I do, is to start thinking about, what if potty training, what if communication isn't happening because of the way I feel, and what I feel is the thoughts that have been created in my head, and that's causing us not to move. And when I say move, it's like not causing us to take the actions that will help our children gain these important life skills. So that's what today is about. There's going to be tears. This is super sensitive for me. I'm going to be sharing some personal stories in relation to this. So you guys want to stick around. If anyone on Instagram, I'm about to disconnect because I'm going to show a video. Join us. We're going to put the link. The link is in the bio on Instagram. It is also going to be in the comments section of this live. Join us. It's free. It's a workshop. And if anybody wants coaching today, you're just going to raise your hand. Okay. So I'm disconnecting here, and let's get started with my presentation. Perfect. I'm just doing that down. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to share my screen. So happy to have everybody today. I'm going to move that over so it's not in the way. And can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
So it's called an autism story, but it's really not. We're actually doing this. It's called the, because this was such a pop-up, it's actually called the Autism Mommy's Manage Your Mind workshop. Because a lot of the times we feel like if we just do the things, if I had that blueprint that Michelle talks about, I could just do it. And you might get some results, but if you want lasting change, if you want to take what you learn with one blueprint and implement it for many things that we need to teach our children on the spectrum, you've got to start here. And that's what today is all about. So here's the team. This is me. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm an autism mom and life coach, if you didn't know that. I have a daughter, Juliana, that's on the spectrum. She was diagnosed at 2. She went from nonverbal to sign language to potty training with a sign to speaking to where she is today. This year is an amazing year for us. It was a milestone because she is in a 4th grade general education class. Up until this point, she's been in, since kindergarten, she's been in integrated classes. If anyone doesn't know what that is, that means you're co-taught by a gen ed teacher and a special education teacher. This year is her first year in a full-on general education class with minimal supports. We just had a team meeting this morning. She's doing amazing. The the things I work on with Julie and Anna now aren't the core stuff, which we're going to talk about today, so much as it is the next level, which is social skills. And this is something that's a skill for her that's got to be developed out over the years. So yeah, so I'm happy to have you guys today. And our special guest today is Stella. She is a part of my masterclass. If you didn't know, I run a group coaching program for parents of children with autism. Stella runs her own program, her own call every week in that program. And she is the mindset coach, and she's going to chime in today. And we're going to talk specifically about our thoughts, about where we are right now, our thoughts if we're struggling with potty training. And I feel like I've tried everything and it's not working, or that maybe it's not happening because they can't talk. We're going to go over all of that. And that's what she really dives into every week. I'm going to say this 1,000 times today, and I'm going to start today, right this moment. 95% of the game is not the tactical that everyone comes to me for. It is the mindset. 5% is the tactical. That's how much of a deviation, how it's so important to work on this first, work on this, and then the action is so much more purposeful, and it happens fast once you land it. So we're going to share this with you today. Here's a story. I'm going to share Juliana's story for anyone who hasn't seen it. I'm going to take a quick potty break, and then we're going to get right into the program. I remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, I felt so grateful and so blessed. My life. Jen, I'm going to fix this real quick. They're saying there's no sound.
You have to unmute yourself. So we.
Oh, duh. That was stupid. All right. Take two. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second here. I have to unmute myself. Bear with me here. All righty. And hold on 1 second here. Let me just share my screen again. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. All right. Can you see it, Jen?
Yeah.
Tell me if you can hear it now.
Yeah. Mute yourself.
I remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, I felt so grateful and so blessed. My life up until that point had been pretty rocky. I'd had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, and I finally thought that I was turning a corner, and God was blessing me with this beautiful gift of a child. And I just, yes, finally something was going in my way. And then when she was born, she was just absolutely perfect. I had all of these dreams and expectations for her. I thought of all the things that I thought she was going to do. Yeah, good girl. Right after her first birthday, I started to notice her behavior change. She went from, saying map. She was obsessed with Dora the Explorer, Mama, Dada. She was saying it all. Good girl, say map. Hit all of her milestones up until that point. She walked at 1. She was eating solid. She just, she looked really good. And then I just remember her, it felt almost overnight or very quickly where her demeanor just changed. She went from this super happy baby to crying and tantruming, just frustrated all the time. I remember saying to my mom one day during one of these tantrums, like, where did my happy baby go? But I didn't think anything past it. I think I was kind of not ready to fathom that something could be off, even though maybe the telltale signs were there. Let's try some Cheerios. Cheerios? You don't want Cheerios. Okay. Dressed. Honey, gotta get dressed. Gotta get dressed, honey. Come on, time to get dressed. she started to lose the words that she had gained. She wasn't saying mama anymore. She wasn't saying that. She just seemed really disconnected from us. Instead of playing with her toys, she would take them, dump them all out of her toy box, and just start twisting them around her hands aimlessly with no intended purpose. Was really kind of in denial about it. And then I remember one day we were in the middle of a store, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, she just like started like screaming and yelling like somebody had slapped her. I don't even know what the problem was. And I was so mortified. I didn't even know what to do. I was so scared. I literally just left the half full cart in the store, picked her up, and just ran out of there. Never went to that store again. I just didn't even know what to think. And that was probably the first time it really kind of stung for me that maybe something is wrong. They diagnosed her. They didn't diagnose her right away. They said that she was too young for a diagnosis. I didn't even know what they meant when they said that. I was like, diagnosed what? I just had no idea what they were talking about. And then they said, we'll come back in if you're not seeing progress. And I said, okay, And a couple months later, I'm watching these speech therapists play with her on the floor. I'm not seeing any progress, and felt like she was getting a little worse. And then we went for our 2-year-old wellness visit. And the doctor said that she was behind if she wasn't using 20 words with intent. And that was probably just a knife to my heart at that point. I really couldn't deny that something was up with her anymore. So then I called the county back in, and she was diagnosed on the spectrum. And I remember that day, and it was worst days of my life. It was my darkest hour. I could easily say that as a mother, as a woman, as just a human being. It was probably one of the hardest times I had ever gone through. And I remember just I went from being so happy with God, so thankful, to being so pissed at him for doing this to her and wrecking this beautiful gift he had given me. And for a while there, I struggled. I struggled to figure out what this meant, or what we were going to do, or how this was going to define her. All those dreams I had for her future were just completely shattered. And I had no idea what was going to happen next. And I went from just hopeful to just complete blank when I thought about the future. One night I was thinking, I'm going to die one day, and who's going to care for her like her mother? And something about that thought just snapped me out of my depression and my anger and my fear and said, listen, we got to get to work here. I promised that when she was born, I was going to be the best mother I could be to her. And that promise hasn't changed. In fact, she needs me more now than ever, not less. She needs me now more than ever. And I didn't know at the time what we were capable of, or what having those changes, that mindset shift for me was going to do. But I wanted to know that at the end of every night, I could look myself in the mirror with confidence and say, did you do everything you could, Michelle, to give her the best possible life? And if the answer was yes, then that was a good day. And I wanted the answer to be yes, 100%. And no matter where the cards fell, I know I could leave this earth saying I gave her everything I had, no regrets. And as I've navigated this world with her and walked away that day after having that thought, I really just grabbed the bull by the horns. I became her fiercest advocate. I'm not a special education master's degree teacher. I never had any formal training in ABA, but I knew that I was going to learn whatever I needed to learn to be really strong for her. And Juliana lost all of her language. Some Cheerios? You want Cheerios? You don't want Cheerios. Okay. She was nonverbal when she was diagnosed. Show me what you want. Okay. You want something? We taught her sign language. Show me. Juliana, show me. Good girl. Then she went from sign language to word approximations. Wait, what? That's fish. Okay, give us something. Then she started to speak. Say I did it. She went from the most restrictive preschool environment. She was in a 614, most restrictive preschool, special education preschool environment. Your name is Diana. Good morning to you. Your name is Diana. And how do you do? Hi, Juliana. To now, where she is almost 8 years old. She's in a second grade class in a gen ed school, integrated class with typical peers. She speaks beautifully now.
What did you like about the troll experience?
I like when they make things like coffee, and I like that they know like text with paper.
She has a personality. She has conversation skills. There's still things that we need to work on, but for the most part, her future went from black to now having possibilities. And none of that could have happened had I not kind of gotten out of my own way and really hit the ground running and started to take action for her. And I can't say that I could do that for every parent I coach, but what I can tell them is I will have them feeling like I did, looking myself in the mirror, you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I was everything I could be for her today. I have no regrets. And whatever happens, it happens. It's really for us as parents to know we fulfilled the duty that we promised when we had these children, which was to be the best versions of ourselves, to live, to raise these children. I've helped now hundreds of mothers, coach them one-on-one to do the same things I did, to help them to be strong, to help them to craft plans where we're seeing constant progress. This is what I want to do. I want to give you the chance that Juliana's had. I want to give you every opportunity to give your child that kind of
Dear Juliana, today you are with a day full of happiness, spent with friends. Many good memories to remember again, and great times. I hope you remember. Happy birthday, love, Jane.
Okay, so let's get into it. This is my little girl today. That was actually, I think when she turned 9 was that video, and it was just, it's just interesting to me just to see her, the way she's evolved and how far she's come, and to realize that as I reverse engineered this when I started working with parents directly, and I said, listen, I'm just going to show them everything I did, and they're going to do what I did, and they're going to get the same results. And that wasn't happening. And I'm like, why isn't this happening? I'm giving them gold here, these nuggets. This is definitely shit that should land. And then I realized, oh, you don't believe this is possible. And for me, I had to almost like go back and remember that moment. And for me, the thought wasn't like sexy. It wasn't inviting. It was actually a little scary, I guess. And when I think back to that, I'm going to die one day. We're all going to die one day. And is this the legacy I want to leave my girl? That I was just in the mental mud about her diagnosis, that I thought her life was over and that mine was too. If I had all those thoughts, you know, like I had like, it's a knee-jerk reaction to have all those thoughts, right? Because it's not, none of us signed up for this. And it, you know, I went through like I call it a grieving process that you go through when your child's diagnosed. And it's not, you know, it's not a death, but it's the death of the neurotypical childhood experience I thought we were going to have. And I had to go through the stages of grief, and to fully process that. The 5th stage is acceptance, and that's not sexy either. It's not like, listen, this is this isn't what I signed up for, and it's not fair, and it's not right. And I remember I said this in one of the emails I sent out promoting this. I remember visualizing for months after the diagnosis, crazy things like a grim reaper floating over the bassinets, the hospital, just ready to spill his 1 in 66 poison on my daughter. And what was the chances, because we didn't have a history of this in our family, that she would get this. But I can't stay here. If I stay here, that's really what's going to kill her. And it's going to kill me too. And if you're struggling with your thoughts, I'm so vulnerable and so, you know, anxious to share with you today, because this had been so difficult for me to face. But once I did, and knowing I couldn't stay here, this is how change happens. And we're going to show you how we do this. And once I realized like this was the piece, it wasn't the tactical. I'm going to show you guys today your thoughts. I'm going to show you that everything I'm going to blueprint out for you if you join our masterclass, you had in you all along. It's the beliefs, the brain that's stopping you from seeing it. Okay? So you may be here today because you want to hear your child start communicating with you. You might be here today because you want your child to be as independent as possible. You might be here today because you want to stop feeling guilty and to blame for where your child is. You want to feel confident that you know how to handle your child in any situation, in any scenario. You want to stop worrying about what their future will look like if they don't communicate. You want some reassurance for yourself as their parent. You want to stop feeling like every bad thing in the world is going to happen to them. And you want to stop feeling like you can't live your life. And this is what I call the Autism Mommy's Big Three. And I call these are the skills that every child on the autism spectrum needs for a chance at a life of independence. And if you're struggling with any of these, raise your hand. I'm going to coach. I'm going to coach you all through the tactical, and I'm also going to coach you through your mind. And to see that once I show you your mind and show you the path of believing this is possible, the progress will flood in. I always call it like the invisible umbilical cord. We're going to talk more about our brains in a minute, but if it's garbage in here, it's garbage out to my baby. And if once I start believing something different, I know it sounds so crazy, but once I start believing something different, that's when things change for my girl. So those three skills, number one, they have to be potty trained. That is a foundational skill every child on the spectrum needs to have a chance at a life of independence. Second, they've got to have no problem behaviors or minimal problem behaviors and can sit and attend so they can learn in a school setting. And third is they have to have communication skills. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the verbal word, but I'll tell you, we've had amazing success with silent children going from silent to talking. And I have amazing tactical and I have amazing team, but we do a lot of work here and you start to see shit shift fast when you work with us. So we're going to talk about the champion mindset. And here's the fact. Most, if not all, autistic children have the ability to achieve the big three, the potty training, the communication, no problem behaviors, and they can have severe autism symptoms right now. And I'm still telling you that most, if not all, children can have these skills. What I want to tap into today first is, have you had thoughts such as these? And I know I've had them as well. Parents who take time for themselves are selfish. My child won't ever potty train there because they can't speak. What if my child never shows signs of progress? It's my fault my child has autism. It's like cancer. I just want to have a conversation with my child. I don't think it's ever going to happen. And if you walk away with anything today, and this is what it's all about anyway, this is the most important thing you need to know. Getting your autistic children, achieving the big three, starts with our beliefs and what we, their parents, are capable of first, and then what they're capable of second. The number one reason stopping your child from achieving these goals are your thoughts about their ability, your ability to help them, and about the diagnosis. We're going to go deep with this today. Because these thoughts have been left unchecked, they're creating the results that you have now. Our brains are very good at creating a belief or a story, and it will feel like fact to you. We're going to really dive into this with Stella today. And the story belief is not to up-level us. It's to keep us in a state we can sustain status quo. So let me just really hit this home for you, right? A belief is a thought that we've just thought over and over and over and over again. Autism is Rain Man. Autism is cancer. Autism is a death sentence. Autism means she's going to be living with me for the rest of her life. Autism means a group home. If I start thinking that over and over and over again, it starts to become a belief. Beliefs to us feel like facts. And these facts, when they're presented by our brain, aren't meant to up-level us. It's to keep us in the state that we're in now, which is status quo, meaning you're surviving right now with your child in diapers. You're surviving right now with your child hand leading you to the pantry. Your brain is chill here. We can sustain. It's not what you desire. You desire more, and we're going to help you to get that. But I got to at least acknowledge what's going on up here that's stopping that progress from happening. Once the story-
Michelle, if I may interject, guys, another word for status quo is it's literally comfortable. Like, as much as you may think it's not comfortable to change diapers or do all those things, it's comfortable to your nervous system. It's comfortable to your body. That's another word for what Michelle's talking about with status quo. All right, go ahead, Michelle.
It's not even a word, because you think comfortable. You're like, I'm not comfortable with him in diapers that I have to change every day. I'm not comfortable with him not being able to communicate with me. it's your brain already knows what living this life is like, and it doesn't want to change that. It's
to your
just that
brain, it's comfortable, right? To your brain, it's
right.
habitual. To your brain,
Exactly.
that's what it's on autopilot almost for your brain. That's
Got
the
it.
story that it's playing out over and over and over again. Right.
Once it's created, it keeps repeating and looks for external and outside of ourselves to find evidence to support it, to make it feel like fact, to make it feel true. Oh, see, you know, I put him on the potty and he sat there for 20 minutes. As soon as he get up, he pissed himself. See? All of these things, I'm sure you could all think in your brain right now of examples of how you found shit to prove the life you're living now as this is what it's going to be. This is the best it's going to get. But even thought that even though the story causes us suffering and makes it so nothing gets better, we keep it on repeat. Because again, the brain's job is not meant to make us happy. The brain's job is not to up-level us. Change is fucking scary to the brain. Its only job is to keep us safe. And status quo, the way things are now, you can handle. So I don't want you to change that because I'm afraid for you. The brain is like literally living in a primitive time where like that kind of change, like working through a potty training blueprint, working through a communication protocol is terrifying for it. It's like, I don't know if you can handle that. So, but I know you can handle this. So let's just stay here. And that's literally what's going on in your brain. The only way to break that loop is to seek external support, to believe something different, something more supportive than keeping things the way they are. And that's why I created the masterclass. That's why I'm a coach specifically to parents of children with autism. I could coach anything, but I know from my own experience, this is the fucking gatekeeper. Your brain is the gatekeeper to deciding whether or not your child's going to have this life with the big three. And that's why I do this. That's why I run this program. Most autism parents feel or assume that if the tactical happens, they're going to feel better. And Stella, you can go through the examples on this.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, every single coaching session I have in the group, it is literally me coaching around this specific thing. I hear examples like, once my child is potty trained, then I'm going to feel better. Then I can relax a little bit. Once my child starts communicating, then I can feel better. Then I can sleep better at night. I won't be as stressed out. I won't be as fearful. I'll feel happier. They're putting their child's results on the line to determine whether or not they can feel better. Okay. But what we want to tell you is that you can actually feel better now. You can decide to feel better now. And that actually creates the results that you want for your child. Because in our program, we teach you guys that you feeling fearful, you feeling doubtful, you feeling scared, you feeling all of those feelings right now is directly impacting how you show up for your child. It's directly impacting that. So if right now how you're feeling is impacting what you do or don't do for your child, that's generating the results. So you could decide to feel better now to show up differently. It is such a different energy. It is such a different energy. This is literally what I coach on every single week, guys, in our coaching program. Okay, so it all starts with the story that you're telling yourself. Well, my kid just won't go number 2. He'll pee on the potty, but that's it, just won't go number 2. If that's the story you're telling yourself, then literally I'm going to use my date book here as an example. Guys, I'm so old school. I have a date book, but it's like literally looking outside for evidence to put in this blank storybook. Oh, yep, there we go. We pooped in the pull-up. Oh, there it is. Here's page 1. Look, page 2, not going on the potty. It's the stories we tell ourselves that create that feeling of defeat, that create that fear, that create that, nope, never going to happen energy. So what do? We half-ass the effort of potty training because we're feeling that disbelief. We're feeling the what's the point energy. Post in the chat. Does this make sense? Is this resonating with you guys? Let's get interactive here.
I want to even present it even in a different way for the parents that believe they've tried everything, right? From the energy, I remember, I'll never forget this. I was coaching a mom who literally worked with her child 3 to 4 hours a day, doing like discrete trial training, right? That's like a type of like, you're sitting at a table, you're running programs with your child to get them to, communicate, get them to up level, whatever the situation was. And on average, I consider my ABA with my daughter natural environment teaching, meaning as I am raising her, these things are presenting and I'm managing it with my mind in a different way. Like, I don't necessarily work that hard. I call that not even hard. I call that hustle energy. She's hustling to try and get a result, but in the back of her mind, she's never checked the fact that autism is a death sentence. Autism means diapers for life. And she's trying to do all of these things, burning herself out. And here I am like, oh, listen, and we're going to go over thoughts, the knee-jerk thoughts that we all had when the diagnosis came, me included. And then me being intentional, saying, no, I'm not investing my time in that kind of bullshit thinking, talking back to that brain, that voice in your head that says nothing's going to change and your life is shit and let's just keep it the way it is because you can handle that. And saying, I want to believe something different, and telling my brain, get to work, find me the reason why what I want to believe is possible. And that's what we do in the program. That's the heart of everything we do. We want to teach you to think differently first, and then everything I tell you to do, it's going to be like gas on a fire.
Yes.
Okay?
And one thing I want to see, because I'm seeing in the chat, guys, how it's like, it's hard to think positively. It's hard to think positively. One thing I want to say is that this is not from going to, here, let's give an example, okay? I don't know if you guys can see my magnets here, right? But let's just think here, I'll do yellow, like it's a spectrum, right? Of like, oh, Susie Sunshine's over here, right? This isn't going from, miserable thoughts. It's not going from miserable thoughts way over here to, oh, let's just think happy-go-lucky, Miss Susie Sunshine thinking. That's not what this is about. It's not from thinking positively, because that is like a positive mantra where it's almost like throwing something against the wall and praying and crossing our fingers that it's going to stick. The way that this works, guys, is it has to feel true in your body. It has to feel true. Your brain's got to like have some buy-in for it. So the goal is to inch a little bit closer all over here to get to this amazing thought. So if we're really believing, like level 10 belief of like, my kid's never going to shit in the potty, we're not just going to instantly believe, oh, he's going to go. Oh, this is just, it's in the bag. We got to start building the belief. And that's what we do. That's what we teach you how to do in the program. And guess what? When we're building the belief, the action follows, guys. The action follows. From a strategic standpoint, the tactical comes in. This is where the process builds. But what happens is that when you're building that belief, you're seeing it too, because our brains, again, going back to my analogy of the book, you're looking for the evidence to support these new beliefs. And then you're like, oh shit, this is literally happening.
Versus looking for the evidence from the past of how this won't work. I want to look for evidence of why this will work. Yes. And this is very telling, right? I'll tell a parent like, okay, now we're going to set it so that anytime they want the iPad, they have to eliminate on the toilet. Oh, I'm punishing them. I'm bribing them. How does it feel? How does it feel to think that? How is that serving you? I like to think of it as, how about a reward? You get this fabulous reward for going on the potty. Which thought is going to better support me to stay the course of potty training? Okay? And I think I went backwards by accident, but we'll keep going. Oh, no, I didn't. I went forward. All right, here we go. So here's the thing. Your thinking needs to be setting yourself and your child up for success when it comes to communication, potty training, and stopping problem behaviors. All thoughts you have are optional. It doesn't feel like that now. We're going to help you through this right now. But this is the thing, guys. Everything you think, including autism, is a death sentence. Autism means my kid's going to end up in a group home. That's fucking optional and super unhelpful and putting you through unnecessary suffering. You get to choose your thinking to get new emotions, new actions, and results. And we help parents to think intentionally to get the results they want for their children with autism. And this is an exercise we run in the program. We're not going to go super deep here, but I want to just show you how this works, what a knee-jerk reaction thought is, and how I stop that shit in its tracks, and then I want to intentionally think something different. And a circumstance or a fact is something that I would say everyone, like you could present this to a court of law and everyone would agree. So I'm going to use the example of when I was trying to potty train Juliana. And the fact of the matter was, before she was using the potty, she was not. So my child is not potty trained. The knee-jerk reaction thought I had about it is that she doesn't understand what to do because of autism, which I spelt wrong, and because because she was nonverbal at the time. She was nonverbal when I talked to her. There's no way she's going to understand what to do. I can't speak to her. I had a mom say this to me this morning. And when I thought that thought, I felt defeated. I felt hopeless. And the action I take is no action, or I try for a morning or a day, and then I just quit. And let me tell you something. There is no failing as a parent of a child with autism. There's either learning or winning. The only true fail is quitting. And the result you're going to get, if you buy into your brain's default bullshit thinking that it presents you, is that my child will stay in a diaper. So now I know that my thoughts are creating my results, and I want to change that. The circumstance here is exactly the same. I still have a child that's not potty trained. So I had to go back and think. It took me 6 months to potty train Juliana. I was a fucking shit show at first. I used to punch the walls. I'd scream at her, scream at myself. I didn't understand why I couldn't get it. And then I had a shift. And I said, the thought in my head created a different kind of emotion that had me taking different actions that got me the result of a child that was potty trained. And the thought that I had was, potty training is not optional in my home, regardless of the old thought. Whether it's true or not, it's not serving me to keep thinking that. I have to think what's going to empower me to keep moving, to go. And it was, this is not optional in my home. She will learn this. And when I felt that way, when I invested more time there than in the other part where she's not verbal, she can't learn because she's not verbal, I felt more determined. I felt motivated. I felt committed to the process. And then the action I took, I got Michelle's help. That's for you guys. I created a solid plan. I implemented. I tried tons of shit that did not work, but I kept going. And I didn't stop. I tweaked and I tested all throughout. And the result was I got my daughter potty trained with a sign, the potty sign. Now, you may have come here today and you have thoughts of what you want for your child. And I want to share some information on the masterclass because we're already getting a lot of inquiries on it. You came here today because you want to hear your child be able to speak and hear their voice. You want a child who can use the bathroom and is not in diapers. You want a child that doesn't tantrum or get aggressive with me or others. You want to have a deeper relationship with your child and they can share their thoughts and dreams with you. You want your child to be able to go to any school, any extracurricular activity or camp without their autism diagnosis making it impossible. You want to drop and go at a birthday party or a sleepover. That one was a big one for me. You want to be able to enjoy a family vacation. You want to be able to enjoy the holidays, parties with families and friends without having to hover over your child or explain away their behaviors. You want to know that when you're gone, your child can be independent. You want your child to have a strong connection with their siblings, their family, peers. And then I want you to think for a minute, because I know you're not thinking about this. What do you want for yourself? This time on earth, right? All of us don't know how much time we're going to have. I want you to stop for a minute and stop worrying about this child. And what do you want for yourself? What do you want this journey to look like with this child? How do you want to show up? What does your sovereignty look like? Maybe you want an unbreakable connection with your child. You want peace with the diagnosis. That was a big one for me. You don't want to believe that autism is a death sentence, because it's not. You want to feel it in your bones that you didn't fail your child. You want to know that you left no stone unturned. You want to know that your children will remember their childhood and say, Mommy and Daddy gave me an amazing childhood. They never gave up on me. You live every day from this moment, knowing that if you died tomorrow, you gave 110% today, no regrets. You know that you're raising a happy, healthy, self-regulated child that grows into a happy adult. And I wanted to share, this came in last week and it just warmed my heart because this was from one of our master classes, Teresa. And this is just goes to show the power of the mind. Teresa's husband, while she joined the master class, became very ill. And she could have used that as an excuse to say, listen, I have to stop. I can't do this now. I need, there's just too much. I have to take care of this child in diapers. I have to take care of my husband. Because of our support, the way we were to show her thoughts and how powerful they are, she doubled down into the program. She said, listen, I may not be able to make the calls, but I'm going to send you emails and I just need support. I need my son potty trained now more than ever so I can take care of my husband. And this was an email she sent me just last week. And she said that her Ian is officially potty trained. And two magical things happened. One is he watched videos of people opening and eating candy on YouTube. That's his thing. He loves to watch people opening food and eating it on YouTube. So he got a peanut butter cup, a 1 pound peanut butter cup for Christmas. And it was the perfect reward for potty training. And he got a piece of that cup every time he went on the potty. In addition to that, she took our advice and we implemented a token board system. And he had this another reward set up where if he got all of the tokens on the board, he got it to stay at like a local hotel with a swimming pool. And he literally went into the bathroom and took a shit on the toilet as soon as she told him that was the reward he was going to have. She said his teachers are just speechless because she's never seen such a quick turnaround. And she can't tell me, and this is what I think is so invaluable. You're so in the mud of like, I need this to happen. If this happens, things will be better around here. If he talks, it'll be better around here. If he's potty trained, it'll be better around here. She's saying that she couldn't even comprehend the joy that she has in her heart right now. That a veil of depression that I didn't even know was living with me was lifted. And she can see things even more clearly now because he has the skill. This program we put in place is so much fun, affordable than any of the other treatments she's ever paid for. And he's officially potty trained and her husband's on the mend. She can focus on her family and not just on Ian anymore. And this was another email I got and I just wanted to share with you because the power of you solve this first, it opens the floodgates of what's possible for our children. And we are going to coach you guys on this today. Hi, Michelle, I just want to drop you a quick email. I know you've been busy beyond belief with your courses, but I wanted to tell you in a minute, thank you. When I first found you, Easton was 3 and I couldn't get a firm diagnosis nailed down. He had maybe 20 to 30 words, 0 social skills, wasn't potty trained, didn't know his name. And my biggest wish was just to hear him say, I love you, Mom. We lived in a county with 0 access to services and I just assumed it was out of the question. I figured my only option was to fall in line and take what the school would give us and just hope that even though it wouldn't be enough, it was better than nothing. I found you that same day. I had one of his follow-ups. I was defeated and overwhelmed after the therapist had asked me to list some of Easton's strengths. I sat there almost in tears as I struggled to come up with an answer. I told myself I would never be in that position again. That's her moment. I want you all not to miss it, that was her moment. I had to find him help, and I found you. Today, I had a meeting in his school regarding his kindergarten. He is set to be placed in a general education class 80% of the time. He is fully potty trained. He has no aggressive behaviors. He is able to self-regulate, transition smoothly. He's learning to advocate for himself more and more each day. Both of his fine and gross motor skills are on par with his peers, which had never been the case previously. His speech is still blossoming, but he has grown leaps and bounds. He has access to ABA, which has made all the difference. He tells me he loves me on a daily basis. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, had I not found you, we would not be here. I sometimes worry what could have been had we not. And luckily, this isn't our reality. I don't attend the live calls any longer, but I listen back to them. I put them in the car when I walk or when I'm getting ready. I'm able to take something from each and every one of them. Listening keeps me focused and driven. It lifts me up and keeps my momentum going. I know the work has to be tedious and time consuming, but I want you to know it is so appreciated. It truly made all the difference in my life, and most importantly, Easton's. I'm so thankful for you and your entire team. You have literally turned our life around, and I can't tell you enough what that means to our family. What you do for people is beyond amazing. You are truly a lifesaver. But you guys are the lifesavers for your babies. I'm just the facilitator to help you see the way. So what I run is called the Champions for Our Children Masterclass. And that's what Kimberly was mentioning, that was Teresa was mentioning. It's a 3-month group coaching program with guaranteed results. And what you get when you join is lifetime access to my study vault of courses. That includes courses on potty training, mindset, communication, picky eating, problem behaviors, you name it, everything. And you have lifetime access to those courses as well as our call recordings. Also, a part of this program is 3 to 4 weekly live group coaching calls, and you're going to learn from the experts. One is with me. I'm the jack of all trades. I'm an autism parent just like you. And we're going to craft out. This is a group program where I personalize everyone's support because every child is different. We craft out a personal plan for your baby. You're going to get on with Stella, and we're going to talk, and she's going to coach today. She's our mindset coach. She's going to help you to keep your mindset in a place where you stay determined to help your baby, just like Kimberly and Teresa. In addition to that, you're going to get to be coached by my BCBAs. One of them, Stacy, was with Juliana when her language was just emerging. They're going to help you to learn how to get your child the big 3 with effective strategies that you can do at home with them now. They're going to teach you this. This is not rocket science. It becomes a part of how you parent. And Armando, he's our special gift to the program because he is male. He is a BCBA, which is like a unicorn in itself. And he's also an adult with autism who didn't speak till the age of 7. He's going to be able to help you, not only help your baby get these important life skills, he's going to tell you what's going on in their brains if they can't tell you themselves. He is what's possible. Juliana's what's possible. Easton and Ian, this is what's possible for your baby. They're not unicorns. Everyone gets their questions answered in this program. Support is North Star for me. In addition to the 3 or 4 group coaching calls a week you get, we do monthly specialist calls. I have a dietitian who is also a mother with a child with autism, and a speech language pathologist who ran through my program and is now the specialist for the masterclass. Both parents of children with autism. You're going to get support not just from somebody who specializes in speech or somebody who specializes in ABA, but people who know what it's like to live this. And the third part of our program is the private Facebook community where you'll never feel alone. If you have questions in between calls, again, I am here to support you. I want to see you win. You tag me, you tag one of the coaches. We check that group every day. And you have the community of now meeting and connecting with the other families that are running through the masterclass too. And we have some shy folks. If you're shy, you can always email me anytime. You become part of my family when you join this program. I want to help you. I want to see you win. So why would you do this? Every child on the spectrum is unique, and your program should be flexible and bend enough to meet that uniqueness with personalized strategies. We're going to learn that potty training is 1000% possible, that your child doesn't need to be verbal or mildly autistic. I want you to leave feeling confident as the parent you were before the diagnosis came, because you'll be fluent in their language of behavior. You'll start to reconnect to your child because communication is going to be in place now. We're going to get to the root cause of a child's problem behavior and treat it, understanding the function of the behavior and not just treat the tantrum. We figure out the cause from the roots of these behaviors happen minimally or close to never happening at all. We're going to teach you how to live your life again, how to show up for an IEP meeting. We had a couple of IEP meetings coming up for my master classes, a holiday party, plan a vacation, just be a family again. When life happens, we're going to help you to get back on track. What happened to Teresa was unexpected. We guided her the whole entire way. She felt completely supported. If a regression happens, we're going to tell you exactly how to handle it. We're going to learn from trial and error. We don't quit anymore. Rather than quitting on our kids, the only true fail of any autism parent is quitting. And we're going to teach you how to build the champion mindset so you no longer have to worry about autism every minute of every day. And you'll get your independence back too. I want you to get your identity back, not as just this autism mom. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a father, you're a husband, you're a grandparent who's enjoying their time now and not worrying every minute of every day. And we guarantee results in this program. I'm going to go over that in a minute. For today only, if you join us by midnight tonight, we have a special bonus. If you join the masterclass today, you're going to get 2 private sessions with me and 2 private sessions with one of our BCBAs. This is $2,000 in value right then and there if you join at the link that Jen's going to put in the chat. And another bonus, just for you guys who showed up to this workshop today, you will get 5 months in this program instead of 3. And my guarantee, the best in the industry, and there is no fucking industry because I am the industry, nobody does what I do. But if after 90 days, after 5 months, if you don't get the results you came for, whether it be potty training, communication, both, you stay in the program till you do, or I'll give you your money back. That's how sure I am in what I do here. We have a 100% success rate for potty training. We have a 100% success rate when it comes to the progress that we create with communication. I am so sure in what we do. That's my guarantee for you. So for coming live today, the investment in the program is $1,997 or 3 payments of $715 or 4 payments of $550. And that's only comes out to about $14 a day, 60 plus calls that you'll have with experts to get your questions answered, to change your lives and the lives of your babies. And all these bonuses are going to go away after midnight tonight. We're going to put the link in the chat box to join. And let's go. Let's help your baby. If you're thinking, I don't know if now is a good time. Time for our children on the spectrum, I call it currency. And we can't afford to waste a minute not being strategic in how we are spending it to uplevel our kids. There will never be a perfect time. We help you create the time and use the time you already have more effectively. You're already over showing up as a parent. I want you to show up in a more effective way. It's going to get results for your child and you. It's the worst to feel all your time is full up and nothing is left for the things you want for yourself. If you don't have time now, it takes even longer to get these skills for your baby on your own. If you're thinking, can I afford to spend the money on this? What is it costing you to not get your baby the big 3 now? What is it costing in diapers and wipes, your time, your mental health? What is it costing your family? The hours in labor, changing, running away to find a place to change. How much is that costing you? What are the educational opportunities and activities your child is missing out on because they're not potty trained? I talked to another mom yesterday. Her child can't start in this kindergarten program she wants with him for September unless he's potty trained. We can't let that your child pay that cost. Can you afford to pay this price any longer? If you're thinking, I'm afraid I'm failed so many times, how will this be different? You already know you aren't getting the results you want now on your own. This is the worst that it gets. Getting started with us today is the only way to actually get closer to getting what you want. And we work with you until you and your baby win, and we don't quit. We're not going to let you quit either. Make this time different. And one thing I want to share, unicorn syndrome, I get this all the time, that, I saw pictures and videos of Juliana. My child is different. My child has severe autism. By the way, Juliana was diagnosed moderate to severe on the spectrum. This works for other kids, but won't work for mine. By the way, Armando's mother was told he would never speak when he was diagnosed, that you better teach him sign language. My child is broken. I'm broken. There's nothing out there that will change the trajectory for my child. Unicorn syndrome has a lot to do with the topic today of mindset, because unicorn syndrome is our brain in self-preservation state. If I stay here, I never put myself out there to have hopes and dreams for my baby. When that doesn't happen, I can't be hurt. Remember, the brain isn't looking to up-level you or your child. It is meant to keep things the way they are now. Subconsciously, if I can't risk trying and failing because I won't survive it. And let me tell you something, from a mother who has tried lots of stuff that didn't work, that has been disappointed, that has, shit didn't happen the way I thought it was, I am still alive. And so is Armando's mom. Okay? Sitting in I don't know or asking shitty questions with no real answers keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. And it's the reason why you should join. We coach you through the stuckness. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. Nothing comes from an I don't know or bullshit questions you can't answer. Just decide. Decide you're not ready and you won't do the work, or decide you're nervous, but you're willing to go for it. Give yourself and your baby the gift of a decision today. Honor yourself and your child right now. If this worry is dominating your day and night, then join us. If there's something in you that identifies with what we've taught you today and it makes sense, take the leap of faith and join us. Saying yes will have you and your baby moving forward today. For joining me today, all bonuses, and tonight at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Join now, link in the chat box to enroll. And we've got a special gift for everybody. I'm going to share this, grab a drink of water, and then we're going to get to coaching. So I guess I wanted to start asking you, what were your biggest struggles prior to joining the program?
You know, I was going around and looking for organizations. I was looking for help.
So I started looking up online. Like, I really need somebody who's been through.
There's no access to any kind of services over here in Ireland. Googling stuff and trying to find something.
I joined because I have a 3-year-old autistic son. So I knew I had to do something that I didn't know what to do.
Everything seemed to be waitlisted or just not available. To break it down to him, I had to have somebody break it down to me.
And that really got me worried. It got my husband worried and thinking, okay, we need to speak to PD.
I think my biggest struggle was understanding their potential.
I actually didn't know, like I was kind of relying on just the speech therapist.
I came in just feeling very helpless, very confused.
What can I do now that I haven't already done? You know, what would be the harm? What can I lose?
Before participating, we weren't making as much progress. It was slow progress.
I believe that I found you on Instagram.
She is very turned off by a lot of doctors and therapists and things.
I went back and forth and I'm like, she's going to start ABA therapy on this day, and I told them that was my number one goal.
As everyone would be, I was a little skeptical because of how many times I have tried with Alexander.
On one end, I'm hearing, okay, she's, artistic and, you qualify for a lot of services. And when I go and try to inquire about, we can't service her.
All right, so now, I guess, where are you now? You and your child, now that you've joined the program?
They're doing really, really well. Doing really, really well. I think their ABA program here is wonderful. We got very lucky with that.
One word here or there, what it was that he wanted, but not necessarily saying I want. It would be apple or this or that, and that has totally blossomed. And now following like what the BCBA said, with just starting really small.
Okay, so where I am now is where I kind of know that I'm in charge.
The changes in him in less than 2 months, I think I've been like 6 weeks, miraculous. The behaviors are decreased. The stimming has decreased. The listening to directions has increased. The language has increased.
I just, set those goals for myself and cross them off. And once I did that for me, turned my focus 100%. And then I was able to get the work done.
You helped me formulate the confidence in myself to realize I'm ready to really go for it. I would not have gotten through it. It went so much better than I ever could have imagined.
I started listening to tips for Michelle.
He's doing so much better. More eye contact for sure. We're working on talking, on saying some words.
Yeah, it went really well. The tips you guys gave me.
It doesn't seem like this big impossible thing.
I just been given something so precious.
He's more verbal, right direction, and I'm so happy to be part of this program.
We never in a million years thought that it would happen this early.
He's making a lot more sounds. He's now at that point where he's no longer frustrated, since you and all of the teachers have given me all of the ideas and the strategies.
We all want our children to succeed, and it's just been wonderful.
Would you recommend our program to any moms or dads that are going through this right now?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would definitely prefer anyone to this.
Yes, definitely. You guys need to do this program. It'll change you guys and your child's life tremendously.
100%. I do recommend that you learn something new.
I would definitely suggest to go through this program for at least first 4 to 6 months.
This program has allowed that, and I'm really grateful for that.
Take this course, you know, do the one-on-ones, listen and absorb everything that this team has to offer.
You guys have a gift, and you're sharing it, and that's amazing.
So I will recommend you to anybody, whoever is out there.
It's been really great. It's been very great. And
this is going to help you. You can learn through other parents' experiences.
Just do it. Don't hold back. Just go all in with your daughter or your son, and I promise you will definitely see results.
Amazing. Love my moms. Love it. All right, let's do a quick wheel of names. Do a wheel of names. We'll do some prizes right now. It's Q&A time. Stop my share here and let's do some wheel of names. Jen, you ready? Stella may have to hop off, but I am going to man the mindset coach front. Let's get going. Anyone who wants to be coached, raise your hand. Anyone here's right now? We're gonna raffle off 2 sessions, one with myself and one with Stella. Let's go. Everybody who's here now gets to be in the wheel of names. Let's see who's gonna win. Woohoo! Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
Privates. Mother Teresa, that's hysterical. Is there really a Mother Teresa in here? A Mona Lisa, are you here? Excellent. Whoever is Mona Lisa, she is not here. Don't spin again. She is not here. She's got to be here for the prize.
There's a Mona Lisa and a Mother Teresa. How funny is that?
Mother Teresa too here. If Mother Teresa comes up, then she gets it. Let's see here. Let's see here. We got Susan T. If you are here, Susan T, you're going to just, you know what? She's not here. Let's give it to Susan M. She's here. Susan M. M1 Jean. Email Michelle at michellebrodgers.com or info at, here, I'll just do it. Info at michellebrodgers.com for your free session. We're going to give that to Susan M. All right, let's see who the next winner is. Make sure they are here. Let's roll it again.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Who's getting coaching with Stella? Coach Stella in the building.
Lizzie, are you here? Lizzie is not here. Let's give it to, who's next? Who's above her and who's below her? Let's give it to Latanya. What?
We still have Lizzie.
Oh, Lizzie is here. All right,
Lizzie is here. Yay!
Woo! Email the winners to the free sessions. Email info@michellebrodgers.com. We'll get you set up with your free sessions. All right, here we go. Let's start coaching. Let's get right into it. I hope you guys join us. I got to tell you, 2 of the moms in there pie trained in 1 week. They came specifically for pie trained in 1 week, and then we just spent the rest of our time together working on like other skills. This is so possible for you. I'm so excited. We're going to start with Amy. We're going to promote you to panelist so everybody can hear you. Aman, you're going to be next. Aman, I want to talk to you because Aman has this belief, I think. My daughter was not verbal when she potty trained. This was the sign for potty training.
Mother Teresa, I love that name. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, Amy, we promoted you to panelist so we can coach you. You just have to accept it. When I promote you to panelist, your thing is going to blink. Oh, Amy. Hi, Amy. How you doing?
Hi, is that me?
That's you.
Can y'all hear me?
Hey, is that you?
Wonderful.
Hi, Amy. How are
Wonderful.
you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
What are we coaching on?
I whatever you can coach me on. I'm new. I'm lost. Help.
Okay. Tell us about your situation. Daughter, son, age.
My son is 3.5. And we don't have an actual diagnosis yet. But we know it's fairly apparent that he's regressed. Like you were saying, your daughter had words and then she didn't. My son had words and now he doesn't. He's very vocal. He's blabbling all the time, but it's just not formulating into anything. Holding his attention is very hard. I noticed that his gut health is. People keep saying gut health and autism are linked, and I keep reading and I see it and I know that that's it. And my son has pooped in the potty. We just see that he has to go. We put him on there. We poop. We celebrate. But for him to get our attention to say, "Hey, mom, I got to pee or poop. Take me." That's just, we know he can do it. We don't know how do we connect? How do we unlock what it's going to be. Is it going to be a sign? Because he knows some sign language and some sign language he's not interested in. He doesn't want people touching his hands. He's got lots of sensory. The sensory problems he has is probably sometimes I think more than some of the other, so he wants to be touched a certain way, or sensory deprivation with him is a big thing. So I just don't know where to start. I guess I have the belief, I know my kid can do these things. I've heard him talk. I've seen him poop in the potty. I've seen him get great nights of sleep. I know he can. So I just want to know, how I can get started with him. Because he is different, he's not like the other kids. So I'm used to seeing, people parent this way, and now I've got a special needs kid, and I just don't know what to do.
So, Michelle, can I kind of take the lead for a little bit?
Go ahead. Yep,
Yeah.
I'm taking notes too.
So, first of all, Amy, I just want to, commend you for the, awareness around what's going on with your son, and people come to us even without a diagnosis because they know it's sort of, the trajectory of where it's going, right? So I love the honesty here, and I love that you're open, to that being a possibility for you. So number one, amazing. Okay. So first thing I want to ask you is that when you say that I'm new, I'm lost. Okay. How does that feel when you say I'm lost?
I mean, it feels like the truth. It really does. It feels like I'm speaking my truth for the first time, that I usually know what I'm doing, and I had a baby close to 40 and I don't. Oh, and he's special on top of that. So now I don't. It's like if he were normal, maybe I would know what to do, but now it's like he's special. So I'm even more lost at 40 years old with a 3.5-year-old than I was gonna be.
Yeah. I love how you said this feels true.
It does. It feels true to me.
Yeah, thoughts can feel really true. It can feel true, but true isn't really a feeling, right? Like think about it.
Right.
Truth isn't really a feeling. But I want to offer you, like, what's next to true? When you tell yourself, I'm lost, how does it feel? Give me a one-word emotion. How does it feel?
It does. It takes my power away from me. It's power. I mean, it's powerless. It's taking
you feel
power away
powerless.
from me. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I know I can do something about it. And I know I'm not lost. I just need to know which direction to start, and I'll run. I swear I will.
Yes. But what's happening when you're feeling powerless, right? When you're feeling powerless, what are you doing? Let's just talk about this. Like when you're feeling powerless, what are some of the things that you're doing, Amy?
They're in those moments.
Explore this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're usually in those moments of it's mainly when he's having one of those days, where he's unconsolable, and I'm doing all the things that I think I'm supposed to. And other days these things work, but today it's not working, and we're having big meltdowns. We're staying up all night. We're not getting the sleep. He's not paying as much attention. And so I feel like, well, it was working. What have I done now to make it stop working? And so that's when I get in that loop of, well, I just must be lost again, because it was working and now it's not.
Totally. So Amy, what I'm hearing is that you have a thought, I'm lost, which is causing you to feel powerless. So what happens is, right, you're spiraling in all these crazy thoughts, right? We're spiraling in all these loops. You're questioning yourself. You're doubting yourself. And what's the result? You feel lost.
Yeah, just still feeling yep.
So what happens with the results, guys, is that oftentimes our result is proving our thoughts true.
Right.
Isn't that so interesting? So I love that you're coming on here and you're like, I'm new, I'm lost. I don't even know what direction to go to. Michelle, help me. You're like, Michelle, help me. What do I do? I know my son can do it, but you know this, which is incredible. But you're like grasping onto this thought, like, I'm new, I'm lost, I'm lost, I'm lost. But if you're feeling lost, and this is what we were talking about, guys, earlier in the presentation, is the energy, that energy, Amy, that you're bringing into trying to do something. If you're doing it from the energy of feeling powerless, then what happens is that of course you're feeling powerless. Of course you're doubting. Of course you're questioning yourself. Of course you're spiraling and all this stuff. And this is not going to get you where you want your baby to be, right?
Right.
So the first thing we need to do, girlfriend, the first thing we need to do is we got to ditch this I'm lost thought.
Right.
We got to get rid of that because you're not lost. You found your way here, right?
I did. Yes, I did.
You did. You found us. You
I
found
sure
Michelle.
did.
You found champions for our children. You're getting coached. You raised your hand. You're not lost. You're
I'm
incredibly
not lost.
resourceful. You got grass here, right?
I do. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for that.
Now we're going to no longer entertain this idea of I'm lost. None of you guys here are lost. You guys are amazing. So whenever you hear that thought, I'm lost, I'm new, I don't know what to do. No, if you hear the I'm lost, the power of the and I'm finding my way. Okay. Now we're going to transition into some tactical.
Yes.
First
Wonderful.
question I'm going to ask you is, when it comes to your son, we talked about potty training a little bit. We talked about attention a little bit. We talked about the, communication a little bit. So what's the biggest struggle that you're having with him right now?
It would be definitely communication. He doesn't even say mommy anymore. It's just everything's daddy, dada, and made up words. And I almost felt earlier when y'all were saying that, oh, if we could just, if I could just communicate better, then I could take a sigh of relief. I know that's not true. I know that for me, that's not true, because then I'm going to be on to potty training and other things. But right now, it's just more of a looking at him in the face, getting that eye contact with him. And it's like, is he in there? Is he really understanding, that I'm mommy and this is daddy? Like, did he forget that I'm mommy because he's regressing with his vocabulary again over the past few weeks. So that's kind of where I'm struggling right now. It's like, we'll take him to the potty. I'll keep up with the potty training stuff, no problem. But I'm wondering, again, like those questions I heard earlier, is he even understanding what we're asking of him when we want him to sit on this potty, to pee pee and poo poo? And does he understand us? Because he can't tell me like, yes, mommy, I understand. It's just like, just smiley face or giggles. And, so we're not sure if like we're getting, if we're even getting in there to him.
So can you do me a favor though, Amy? Can you answer that? Like, does he understand? Is he comprehending?
I feel like he does. I feel like he does for the most part. He puts his numbers in order. He knows colors. He knows other things. So that's why I'm thinking this has to be sticking. He goes poo-poo in the potty. Like, he knows if I put him up here right before he starts in his diaper, he knows to go ahead and just go right in there. And he knows to get on the stool to wash his hands. So I feel like some of it is sticking. It's just being consistent.
Right. 100%. And these questions, though, that you're asking yourself, like, does he understand? Does he not? It's coming from that powerless energy.
Yeah. But yeah, me and my husband just like looking at each other like, okay, do you think he's paying attention this time? Or, because we're both like, because sometimes he's looking at us and then other times he's, off in another little world. And so then it's my husband too going, do you think he understood this time? And us just kind of going, I don't know. Because we don't, but we feel like we're praying to God that he does. Because we see him progressing and doing other things that's so smart. We're just like, there's no way he does not pick up and grasp some of these concepts.
Right.
It's just,
so
again,
I want to
back and forth.
For sure. And I want to stick to your thoughts and your feelings just for a little bit, Amy. You're doing so good. I want you to hang with me just for a little bit. So rather than feeling powerless about your son, about everything that you're seeing here, how do you want to feel? Like, instead of feeling powerless, like, how do you want to feel about him?
I want to feel, more confident that he's not falling farther behind. I guess that's where we are. Like I said, it's just been recently that he's lost words that he just had words a month ago that he's lost again. So it's kind of like he excels in one way, and then like whether it's his balance or, like I said, he's doing his numbers and ABCs in order. He wants to line things up in order, but then, that came with a cost. That came with losing some language. So that's kind of where I'm just wanting to feel like confident that where we're progressing in one area, we're not digressing in another.
Mm-hmm. And I could appreciate that too. And that's also a thought that is causing suffering. That's a thought that's still causing that powerless energy. Like if you're wanting to feel confident, then what we're not doing in the action line is, right, we're not doubting.
Right.
We're not questioning what's happening with him. When we are feeling confident, we feel certain that no matter what, we're going to figure it out.
Right.
Do you see that? Like it's a much different energy than feeling powerless. But we got to figure out what's going to be your go-to thought in those moments when you and your husband are playing off each other's energy. When you and your husband are like, oh shit, like, is he not understanding what's happening? Because that's generating that powerlessness. That's generating that I feel lost. That's generating the lack of confidence. And that's not welcome here. Does that make sense? Because for you,
for sure.
Right? It doesn't feel good to feel lost. It doesn't feel good to feel
it doesn't.
disempowered. Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't.
That's not champion mindset. Champion mindset's like, okay, champion mindset is I'm noticing some regression. I'm noticing that, okay. And data, I'm gathering data. This is data. And I'm also noticing that he's killing it over here in this department.
Right.
Boyfriend's getting on the potty and he's going. It's amazing. Right?
Yeah, going number 2, not number 1, but hey, that's right.
Yes. Right. A ton of amazing things here. Data is telling me that, you know what? We're losing some words. Okay, great. I don't need to be lost. I know exactly where I'm going now. Now I'm going to get coached on tactical from Michelle because now I know that I'm going to get the language back.
Right.
So in order to feel confident, that comes from our thinking. That doesn't come from our son starting to get his words back. We feel confident now to get his words back. Make sense?
Right. Yes, he knows I'm mama.
In the chat. Is this making sense to you guys? Right? So what's the power thought for you? What do you need to be thinking to generate confidence, Amy, on a daily when it comes to your son? What's going to be your power thought? What's your champion thought?
I mean, my champion thoughts are just that I already know he can do these things. I already know how special and brilliant he is. So it's just like, we're just he's just taking longer, it's just, he's hiding his true self from us is what I just, he did it all during the pregnancy. We never could see his face on an ultrasound for nothing. So it's just kind of like these things that we know he can do. It's just like, yeah, but I'll show you later. So those are my power thoughts. When I want my power back, it's like, no, Amy, you know that Theo can do these things. He's done them before. He'll do them again, and he's going to do them better than ever. So just keep, when he's calling you daddy dada, you just remind him, nope, you're mommy. I'm mommy. And you just say it over and over and over because he knows that you're mommy. He knows you're not daddy. And even if he's calling you the wrong thing, he's going to get it, because he got it before. So I just keep reminding and bringing myself back to those thoughts that he is capable. I don't believe in any of that stuff y'all were saying earlier. That's why I am here, because I don't believe he's incapable of anything. I know he can be potty trained. I know he's going to be independent one day. I know he's going to be able to go to whatever school he wants to. He's going to be speaking in front of crowds, singing, dancing, whatever he wants to do. We're going to excel when we unlock it. It's just, how do I put the key in to figure out for my son what's going to open access and open all of that to pour out of him? Because I've seen spurts of it, but I'm home with him all day. So I have the time, I have the ability to unlock it. I can poke at him all I want until I find the right little combination where he's just going to look at me and go with it. So I'm glad I'm here. I appreciate you so much.
This is so good. Amy, this is so good. For you, again, the power thought is he can do it and I'm not questioning it. That's the power of the and for you.
Yeah, no questions. He can do these things.
Yes. That's what I want to add at the tail end. And I'm not questioning it. Because when you question, that raises that like vibration of powerlessness, that raises the fear story. We're not interested in that. We got to get out of that loss energy. We got to get on that path towards solution. All right. Now we can get into tactical.
Wonderful.
How are you feeling? What's coming up for you? You feel good?
Now?
You
I
feel
do.
good?
I feel good. Yes, because I'm just glad that y'all know it too, that he can do these things, and that's why I am here. So it's good to
So
have
good.
that little bit of
So good. All right.
reassurance.
So let's
Awesome.
talk about
Let's talk about the tactical. So let's talk about Amy. First off, I just want you to remember how this felt. For everybody who listened to Amy be coached when she started talking to Stella to where she is now, bottle this feeling. Remember what it took to go from being unsure and having all these shitty thoughts to feeling the way I do right now. Because that's what you have to do. This takes reps. It takes practice. Those shitty thoughts are still going to be there. They're even there for me. When she has a setback, the first thing, oh, that's fucking autism. But the name of the game is the comeback. How quickly can I push that away and pick up where I left off, where I feel empowered right now? What am I going to do about it right now? Okay?
Wonderful.
All right, so now let's talk about that's right, the comeback. So let's talk about this right now. So we have a child that's fully capable of communicating. The reason I say this without even knowing him, doing an eval, doing whatever, is that behavior never lies. And as a species, the most primitive form of communication is behavior. And what he has shown us in the past, he could speak. Behavior says if he's done it once, he can do it again.
Yes.
And that's scientific. But now that's another fucking power thought for anybody who had a child who had language and lost it. If they had it once, they can have it again. That's tried, true, studied. Okay, that's number one. Number two is based on where he's at now, we're actually in an amazing spot. Because even though he's not using functional language, he's creating sounds. Here's more evidence, right?
Yeah.
Here's the evidence that it's going to help me to feel better. He's making sounds, even though they're not functional.
So noisy for a nonverbal person. I mean, the neurologist was like, he doesn't shut up. So he wants to talk. This will be good for a speech pathologist.
Yes, the more she sees it. See how I say that and it just lights a fire under her? Oh my gosh, yes, he won't shut up. He's not nonverbal. I use nonverbal in marketing because that's just the general consensus of how everyone describes a non-functional.
Well, he doesn't speak English. He's got sounds. I mean,
there
he's very
you go.
verbal. It's just not English. And I don't understand it. And I don't understand his language.
The reason why I don't like nonverbals, it feels final, it feels unchangeable. I always like to say pre-verbal language is coming.
Pre-verbal, I like that. Oh, pre-verbal.
Language is
coming.
You
gave me some more power words.
Exactly. Power words create power thoughts. Now her brain's going to go out and start seeking the proof that these thoughts are true. Okay? So here's what I would do with your son. If you were in my program, what I would say to you is, because he is pre-verbal in the sense of he's making a lot of sounds. By the way, this is the process. What happens is that we create a communication topography for where he's at now. And I always visualize the thought to voice neural pathway asleep. And I need to kickstart it somehow. And this is the process that's going to kickstart. So what we would do for a baby like him is I would recommend we start to implement what I call a bridge form of communication. So functional language is here, thoughts are here, bridge is going to connect the two so he can instantly communicate with you. Communication and speaking are not one and the same, which is a good thing. We teach him to communicate through this bridge form of communication, which would be PECS, sign language, or an AAC device, and then the language will start to emerge every fucking time. I've never had a child stutter step with this, especially a child that had language, lost it, went completely nonverbal. You do this step, it starts to kick fire. I can't even explain it when I started my own daughter.
Well, I did do that. They had, I don't have an iPad. He has the Google version. And so there was an app that was like an ACC app that we do have. And he loves that thing. It's like he understands that if he hits the right buttons in the right order, he knows he would be able to talk to me. So we just try to, it's not, I can't customize it because it's not, the actual ACC device.
There's an app out there that's free called Soundboard, I believe it's called. And that one is free. You can customize it.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we just show him like French fries and then like, here's French fries at our house, right? So if you want French fries, boy, you know how to get this app on. You come say, I'm hungry, I want French fries. And I do the sign for hungry. because some sign language he does, some he won't put his hands in the position for because it freaks him out. And so he'll put that on, but then it gets repetitive where he just wants to hear random words over and over and over and over. And then it's like, okay,
See, now she brought up a
now
challenge.
you're in a loop. He gets into a loop. I call it one of his loops. He gets into these loops that we have to pull him out of.
Got it. So here's the thing, right? The idea of an iPad being used for communication, so she's using a text type system on an iPad for communication, is that we have to make sure they're not using it for any other reason than functional language.
No.
And sometimes that's difficult because if all their games are on the same iPad they communicate with, that won't work, right? So the only way to do that is you need two iPads. One's got to be the talker and one's got to be the leisure iPad. Now we have to look at some things here. If the idea here is like, okay, he kind of knows how to use the app, and now I'm mixing sign language in it. I want to be real clean on how he communicates, so we pick one. So you're either going to make
one or the other.
Decision to pick one or the other. When you actually teach the communication, the first pictures that are going to go on there are not feelings like hungry or scared. It's things. Things that he wants. Cookie. What do you ask for every day? Cookie, French fry, juice, water, milk. I want it to be clear. So a toy, go outside. I want the pictures that he has access to be things that he requests every day. And then if he goes off, I know we get this, a lot of moms think they're doing right by their kids. They're like, oh, I just put everything on the bottom shelf of the pantry or the fridge and they can just go and get what they need. That's not going to help a verbal baby talk. So we want to make sure that everything that's on in this app is visible, but no longer accessible for him.
Correct, because he needs to ask me for it.
That's right. He's going to come.
He will ask me for it.
The answer was inside Amy all along. But if I'm in the mental mud of all those shit thoughts she had at the beginning, I can't even access this part of my problem-solving brain.
Oh.
Does that make sense, Amy?
Very good. It does. Yes, ma'am.
Was that helpful for you?
It is very helpful. And it's helpful to know that I need to stick with one or the other, either sign language or the device.
Right.
Like that's very helpful knowledge, especially if he's not comfortable with the sign language and holding his hands a certain way.
Yeah,
you know
it makes perfect sense to not do any of that.
It made sense, but it's something like, well, I need to speak to the speech pathologist who's going to be helping us. It's like, I feel like I need permission from other people to tell me what I need to do.
That's fucking bullshit, and that's a thought.
Right.
Right, that's a thought.
Okay, I got you. Right.
Nobody knows him better than you. I don't care how many years experience she's had. She gets a 30-minute session twice a week. No, you live with her.
Right.
Nobody knows. You tell her what you're doing. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, keep us posted.
Like
Amy. Is that helpful?
Thank you so much. Thank y'all for picking me and bringing me up. No, I appreciate y'all. Y'all are wonderful.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. No problem.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay, let's see who's next. Next is Shashi. I'm going to promote you to panelist. I hope I'm saying your name right. Shachi, I hope I'm saying your name right. We're going to promote you to panelist. That was great info. You're welcome. Welcome to some of our new members. We have some new moms that signed up. I believe Jennifer, Donna, welcome. Welcome to the program. We're excited to have you. Marie, Jennifer, Donna, Marie, welcome. We're so happy to have you in the program. Can't wait to start working with you. All right, Sashi, last time, if you're not, you can't promote to panelists, I'm going to take Maricela next. Oh, there's Sashi. There we go. I don't even know if I'm saying your name right. I apologize. Just unmute yourself so I can help you. Sashi Soni, you're up. So you just unmute yourself. All right, while we're waiting for her, I'm going to take another brave soul. We're going to take Maricela. Oh, Sachi declined. All right, so Sachi doesn't want to get coached. Okay, if you don't want to come up live and get coached, then don't raise your hand. You can put your question in the Q&A, and I can support you there. Maricela is coming. All right, here we go. Hi, Maricela.
Hi.
Just unmute yourself. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. What can I help you with today?
Well, I have a question. My son is a teenager. He just turned 14
Okay.
this summer, and he comprehends, he understands everything. But I need help like with him initiating more, having reciprocal conversations. Because sometimes he will initiate, but other times like I feel like I don't know if he's prompt dependent on me because he'll look for me to give him the words, and I'm like, "Don't look at me. You know how to say it." And when I do that and I ignore him, he'll start his sentence. So, what kind of advice do you have for me, like to help him increase the communication?
Okay, so I want to look at where he's at. So we're going to baseline where he's at. So the first baseline question we have for you is he can express wants and needs verbally. Is that right?
Yes, yes, he can. And he also has the AAC device. But usually when he has speech, because the speech therapist wants to hear all his sounds, she'll have him like type in a word, and then he repeats it 3 times. Then he has to put it in a sentence. Like last time he chose, I think, grandmother. And then he came up with his own sentence. He said, I like to kiss grandmother.
Oh.
So, and the thing is that sometimes he doesn't want to use the device. He just wants to like say it verbally.
Which is
because
great.
he's pre-verbal, which is good.
Okay. So when you say pre-verbal, so I want to get really clean on this. So is he only communicating through the AAC device, or is he using verbal language?
He's using verbal language.
So when he uses verbal language, is it just one word answers or one word comments, or he can create sentences?
Before it used to be like 1 to 3 words, but now he has increased his sentence like to 4 or 5 or 6 words.
So
because I always create opportunities with him. Like even during dinner time, I'll ask him, Ian, how's dinner? And he'll say, oh, dinner is delicious. Or what's your favorite food? And he'll answer, my favorite food is pasta.
All right, great.
And so I always create.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right. So this is the way you build reciprocal conversation. Like the conversation skills you're looking for, you're already creating. We just need to create more environment for him. One of the things I guess I would challenge is because he has the ability now even to make sentences, and there's really no word, it doesn't sound like there's no word he couldn't say, as to why there's still an AAC device involved.
Mm-hmm. Because in the past,
go ahead.
The reason why he was given the AAC device when he started middle school, because he would get like frustrated and then he would just shut down, and he wouldn't like when he would get frustrated, he would shut down and he wouldn't communicate. So I said, then why don't you guys give him the AAC? He had it in elementary. So they agreed. They said, okay, let's go ahead and assess him for it. And they said that he did very, very well. So it's like to kind of like help him when it comes to like writing, and he has the word prediction, and he has the proloquo there. He has everything. So it's also to help him like when in case he gets frustrated and he shuts down, he's able to type how he feels, or help him with his writing to type.
So here's the thing, right? When you decided to put the AAC device back into rotation to help him with those moments of frustration, did it actually work?
It did work, because I would ask him like, how do you feel? And then we created folders. I feel happy. And we also worked on emotions, because before he would just say, I feel happy for everything. He could be crying and he would say, I feel happy. I said, no, you don't. And then he would say, I feel sad, or I feel frustrated. And then also learning the emotions of the face with ABA, like, okay, show me happy, show me frustrated. So now he knows.
Okay, so if he knows now, this is the idea. Like you put in a little support for him when he was struggling with a very specific issue, which is when, and this Juliana had this too, where she would know what to say if she was being taught the social scenario. So like in her social skills class, they could say, all right, you upset a friend, what could you do to help her not be upset, right? And she'd be able to tell you the answer. But in the moment, she would jam up. It sounds very similar to what happened.
Yes, exactly.
So you put in this you gave the option of the AAC device to give him his voice when he couldn't necessarily get it out vocally. But now that he's doing that, now it's time to fade that support. So that's the first thing I want. And he doesn't really want it anyway. It sounds like he doesn't want it anymore.
Exactly.
Right? So
he
yeah,
doesn't want to use
what he wants. And listen, social skills training, which is kind of like next level training, which is where you're at, is one of these things these skills that we work on over the course of years. So I've been working on this with Juliana since kindergarten, and it's still a work in progress. And the only way it works, and this is where it's going to get a little sticky as a mom, is we have to let him fail. He's going to have some problems. And this is hard for me too. She's going through a situation right now where a girl like absolutely is just talking behind her back every day, sticking her tongue out at her. And I'm trying to show her how she's capable of creating that. And if I give like the idea here is like to be, when first thing your question was, how do I get him to be more conversational, is the way we do that is in the beginning is to just create conversations that have a payout for him to respond to. So we ask him a lot about himself, right? Because what's the best payout that everybody wants to talk about more than anything? Ourselves. So we start asking him questions about himself. And you're doing it really good at dinner time. What's your favorite food here? What do you like? When I ask about school, I don't say, Juliana, how's your day? I always make it fun, like, Juliana, who got in trouble today? See what I'm saying? Who did you play with that? I'm starting to make the conversation super interesting so she wants to engage. I want to get that fluent first, and then I can start teaching her to start a conversation with me. And in those moments that you have with him, where you have to prompt him, no, I'm not going to tell you, you have to tell me what you want. That's fine. The reason why he's halting is because at some point he didn't have to, and somebody read his mind and just helped him.
Yes, right? Exactly. You read my mind, because sometimes like when my sister's around or when uncles are around, they give them the words and I'm all like, are you Ian? You're not Ian. I need Ian to respond. So I think he became like prompt dependent. Like, you need to give me the word.
Yes, exactly. So what we need to do is everyone's got to be on the same page with your son. Like, listen, nobody needs to talk for me. He has a voice. You don't need to give him the words. He needs to say it. For the conversation to continue, he needs to be a part of the conversation from his words. We always meet them where they're at. Now, because I know her son has conversation skills in the sense of he can say sentences, he can request wants and needs. That's why her coaching is very specific to her. That's how the masterclass works. If she joined us, we're going to work with her son where he's at. Getting him more developed, more fluent in just conversation is just getting him talking more. That's really what it is. So we want to just keep building reps of that. We start with the best conversation starter ever, which is to ask us about ourselves. And then we start branching that out to more of a reciprocal language where he's prompting, starting conversations on his own. He's got to see the payout and all of that. Right now, it's fine if we just left it where it is. He'd be content. You're the mom. We need you to move forward by showing the way.
Yeah, and I did a lot of pecs. Let me tell you, he was completely nonverbal. I mean, after he turned one, he like regressed, and I had to teach him how to clap again because he had no strength in his hands. So it's been a lot of work. It's been very challenging.
It's been challenging, but now I hope today was helpful for you too, because you have I want you to think about some of the thoughts that you've had. Like, I don't want this to be the exhausting thing of your life. I want you to be able to parent him, but parent him in a way that this just feels good all the time. It feels good to hear my baby speak. I know he's capable of this. Feels a lot different than thinking like, this is taking forever, and now I have this new thing I have to teach. It's just crazy. You know what I mean? It's a different energy. I'm at it like that,
And then I had another question for you.
Sure.
I mean, Dad does not live with us, but I know I'm really big on positive reinforcement with him, but Dad seems to think like, why do you always have to tell him good job? Why do you always don't give him no high fives? He's just a spoiled kid. And I've tried to share literature with him, kids that are special needs thrive on positive reinforcement, but he just thinks that my son is spoiled basically, and he doesn't understand. He's uneducated when it comes to autism. He doesn't want to be involved.
Or your father? Is this his grandfather or his father?
No, that's his father, my son's father.
Are you guys still together?
No. Sometimes that's why I wish like he wouldn't even get to see him, but I mean, I don't want to be mean, you know, I want him to
No,
have
listen.
a relationship with him.
This is where thought work is super, super important, because guess what? It's not what he's saying that's the problem, because we can't control other people. People are going to do whatever they're going to do, say whatever they're going to say. It's our thoughts about it.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts about his judgment that are making you feel a certain way. That you're questioning what you already know works. I don't need his blessing or permission. He can think whatever the fuck he wants. I'm his mother. I know I'm the number one reason that he's where he is today. I know I'm going to be the number one reason that moves him forward. I'm doing this whole workshop at the end of this month about how to teach. It's going to be ironic, how to teach family members about autism. And it's like, you know how I do it? I don't have to fucking give anybody an explanation. I do what I do because I love my kid, and I create this like protective bubble that whatever anyone says, good, bad, whatever, I can take what I want that's supportive to me and I can leave the rest. But it takes a belief to understand, like it almost takes a surrendering energy to say, like, listen, no matter what, it's not my job to convince his father that he's not spoiled. It's my job.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it makes you feel every time that you invest in the thought that how could, you know, he thinks he's spoiled, but I know all the results are that all the studies say that positive reinforcement helps a child, doesn't hurt it. It feels like you're not having your back on how you do things. And it feels like
yes, because yes, he picks on me. Like, say for example, if my son doesn't respond to him like right away, you're not even involved. You're not even a 24/7 a day, 24/7 dad. How do you expect Ian to respond to you when you're not involved? So literally, are you trying to tell me that he responds more like to his therapist? I said yes, because he sees them like 7 days a week. And that's why he responds more to them. And then sometimes it just makes me feel bad because he says,
yeah, I know. But like, listen, you're never going to change him. Why are you, you know, like, and everyone's got to have their bubble and you've got to protect that space. And do I really want to extend energy to try and convince this guy of how wrong he is?
Mm-hmm.
Let him fucking be wrong. And you just go about your merry way. And I always think in that way, like, because I think, like, am I going to sit there and tell family members how to treat my kid and explain to them what autism is? Is that really the best use of my energy? Or do I want to conserve that for self-care for myself because I'm a fucking boss and I do a great job and I need to reward myself for that, and help my baby? I don't got time to educate the world. That's one of the biggest misconceptions, the biggest thing that's out there in this whole woke community we all live in. That the whole world should bend to the fucking needs of every individual, and that's just not realistic. I got a baby that's got to raise to be the most strongest, independent, healthiest individual. I can't try and use my energy. Which mom is going to get further? The mom that's willing to take care of and teach this baby the life skill, or the mom that's going to try and change the world to bend to my child's special needs?
Yes, you're so right.
Yeah. So that's same thing with him. Like, fuck him. He can think what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
That's my training at the end of the month. I'll save you. If you don't want, fuck that. Fuck everybody. They can think whatever they want. That's my how do you teach family members about autism. If they really want to help, you'll know the difference between the ones that just want to tell you what to do or have their own asshole opinions about it, and the people who want to be a part of the solution.
Yes, because this person does not say that he does not want to be a part, because he just wants me to have his back. I'm never gonna have your back. I'm always gonna have my son's back.
Yeah, why would you even have his? You're not even together.
Exactly.
Go find a lady friend. That ain't me anymore. It's okay. I can look at him like with three heads. I'm like, I don't have to have your back for shit. Was this helpful?
Yes, very helpful. Thank you so much for your advice.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon. I'm so proud of you. Good job with what you've done with him. Everybody just learn here from her of what is possible, what she was able to do for her son, who went from having language to no language to where he is today at 14. Amazing. We're going to take one more. We're going to take Nicole. I hope this was helpful for everybody. It takes a lot to not get offended by other people's opinions. This is what helped me the most with everybody else's opinions, to stop letting it bother me. At the end of the night, when the door's shut and we're all in bed and the lights are about to go out, it's me and my coach.
Hello.
Hi, how are you, Nicole? It's me and my
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, right? And they don't have to live this. I do. And the best use of my time on this planet, where I don't know how much I have, is to show up like the mother I always intended to be, even before autism became part of our lives. Not to spend some of my mental energy trying to listen to other people's opinions. I don't have time for it. I have time, I don't have use for it. And you know what's funny? Sharing this whole training with you guys today. The energy that I put out, nobody even comes near me anymore. In the beginning, when she was diagnosed and I didn't know what to do and I was panicking, I was freaking out, they were all flooding to me with stupid fucking suggestions. But the energy I put out now, it's like, I'm not going near that. And I love that. If I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. Okay? All right, Nicole, you're up. Can you stop tantrums? Yes, I can stop tantrums, but go ahead, Nicole.
I have two kids with who are both autistic. One's 3.5, one's 5. Potty training's been a nightmare. One's completely nonverbal, one talks a little. They're both in ABA and speech and OT, but I feel like we need to do more. I feel like a lot's upon me. I also work full time, have a demanding job. So that's why I'm kind of here looking for help.
Okay, got it. Both need to be potty trained?
Yes. One we've been doing since Memorial Day of 2022.
At the 5-year-old or 3.5-year-old?
The 5-year-old.
What's his name?
His name's Abe.
Abe, and what's the 3.5-year-old's name?
Danielle.
A girl, Danielle. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay. So you've been potty training him, Abe, since Memorial Day. Let me ask you a question. Between the two, who's going to be the easier to potty train?
Him.
Him. Why?
He's more advanced than her, and he's done it more, and he also doesn't pee as much. She pees like every 15 minutes.
Okay. So let's talk about Abe for a second. I'm going to talk about some of the thoughts that you've already presented that are hurting this. But there are things that you're already thinking that are making this so much harder than it needs to be. So let's just go through the actual things you've tried to potty train Abe. What have you tried?
We just put him in underwear and stuck him on the potty. I got some protocol to just put him on the potty. He wouldn't sit that long, so I put him with a tablet. And now he'll only go sometimes with a tablet, but he still has plenty of accidents. And he used to poop in the potty, and now he doesn't. And
okay, so sometimes he'll go with a tablet. Without a tablet, he won't even go. When you try to ask him to sit, he pops back up. Right?
Unless there's a tablet. Yes, he'll sit for hours with the tablet.
Okay, got it. All right. So why do you think he's not getting it?
He's very stubborn in general. Likes to do things his way. I think often when he gets to playing, he wants to play and then he just goes in his pants. Sometimes he requests to go outside and then we'll pee his pants outside and then he immediately goes to the toilet and takes it off.
Okay. All right, so I want to go through, we're going to go through a little bit of the mindset part of what she's talking about here for Abe. Okay, so the thought that she's having a couple of shitty thoughts about Abe. One was that she needs to do more. She works a demanding job that's full-time, right? So she needs to do more and she's feeling guilty. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Do you have some guilt about this?
Yes.
Why?
I feel like a lot of accidents happen when I'm still trying to get work done. Because I work from home since COVID.
All right, got it. Okay. So I'm just putting the thought here that she's having that a lot of accidents are happening when I'm working. And when they happen, right, when she has that thought, not when they happen, when she has that thought, she feels guilty. When you feel guilty, when you feel really bad like that, what kind of action are you taking for potty training?
I try to take him more and then Then he'll still pee his pants, and then I get frustrated, kind of the whole circle.
And then we're gonna feel frustrated. Yeah, and then it becomes what I like to call the crazy 8. Not potty train, he needs the potty train. Oh shit, I'm working too much. All right, I just tried to do it now I pooped his pants. All right, now I'm gonna take him even more, even though I'm working. And then I still feel like shit about the whole thing. Oh, now he's stubborn, he's not doing it. Oh, now I'm frustrated because now I tried to take him more and now it's not working. You see how it's a loop that never ends. And then the result is he's not potty trained.
Yes.
So first thing we need to do is look at her beliefs around why this isn't happening. And she believes it's because she's working a very a demanding job, and that's maybe one of the reasons. And that's not one of the reasons. Second is he's stubborn. There may be something to that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And he wants what he wants. Now it's interesting, right? The first thoughts she had were the unhelpful ones, the ones that make her feel like shit every day. Right? I work a lot. I have a demanding job. I got 2 kids on the spectrum. Potty training is a nightmare, is one of the things she said. Right? I believe this more than I believe he's capable of actually potty training. Do you see that?
Yes.
And I feel frustrated, and I'm in this loop, so I can't even feel anything other than that. But if I can't feel anything other than that, then I'm never going to get a potty train. So how do we break the chain? How do we get her out of the crazy 8? So here's what I want to show you. I want to show you their thoughts, which you just saw. And then I want to show you that once she got past saying all the verbal vomit, she said some interesting things. He just wants to do what he wants to do. He's not interested. He will pop back up if she puts him back on there, right? These are all data points. And then she says that he's stubborn. So here's the thing. Her child, first thing I understand is we can't keep thinking this. It's like the definition of insanity, right? If I keep going this way and I expect something to change, nothing's going to change if I keep thinking the same things. I need to start doing and thinking something different to have a different outcome. And we always say, well, if he was just potty trained, I'd just feel better. For that to happen, we have to reverse that. I need you to feel better now, be more vested in the belief that he can do this, he just doesn't want to. And then once I feel that and think that, now I'm like, okay, that feels different. This doesn't feel so impossible anymore. Can you feel that shift a little bit?
Yes.
The new thought isn't sexy. If he's stubborn and he just wants to do what he wants to do, it can create frustration, but it also creates possibility. Because if he likes to just do what he wants to do, maybe I can make this something he wants to do. The other thoughts, potty training's a nightmare. I have this demanding job. I don't give him enough time. That creates the guilt. There's no problem solving to come from that. That's why mindset's a big part of my program. We get you believing something different, vested in not the knee-jerk thoughts that the brain presents to keep things the same, and get you believing something different. That's when the magic happens. So here's the tactical, but I want you all to be so aware. The tactical is great. My tactical is awesome. But what I want you to be aware is if we start changing our thinking, the tactical is going to be so much more powerful. It's going to command results, which is what you're not getting now. So what we want to do here is address 2 things. One is that he will not sit. The idea is, right, he's stubborn and he wants to do what he wants to do, right? So I think that's okay, I want him to potty train. So how can I get him to want to do this too? I've got to motivate him, right? The first thing we have to do is motivate every step of having a positive potty training visit, right? Which means go in the bathroom, turn on the light, pull down your pants, sit on the potty, eliminating it, wipe, pull up the pants, flush, wash your hands, leave the bathroom. If we break it down to bite-sized chunks, right now, before we could teach this baby to potty train, we got to get him to sit without popping back up. He's got a little bit of what we call potty phobia. It's not a true, I'm scared of the potty. Sometimes it is, where we just got to get him to sit neutrally first for up to 3 to 5 minutes, enough to let a pee or poop come out, and then we can potty train. She kind of had it a little backwards. She's saying, listen, I'm going to sit you on the potty with an iPad. That was an incentive to sit, but it's he can have, if I have to guess, he has access to this iPad a lot. And if he sits, he can
only on the potty.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll sit for hours, she said. right?
Exactly. With no access unless he's on the potty. So he'll
Exactly.
pretend like he has to go to the potty and sit there.
Look at this, how smart this kid is. You can't potty train? No, that's not possible. This kid definitely can potty train. He's just got you wrapped. So we just got to unwrap and have him wrap for you, right? So the idea here is, first thing, I want to get him to sit. Abe, guess what? If you sit on the potty for 3 minutes, I'm going to give you 5 minutes of iPad time. You set a timer, want it to be audible for them so they know what's coming. First, we want to baseline it. If you ask them to sit, how long they'll sit. If it's only like a second, 10 seconds, and your baseline is, all right, Abe, 15 seconds, you do 15 seconds, and I'll give you 2 minutes on the iPad. You see how that works? Then we build out the time. 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You're going to build that out. This part of the actual potty training you can do pretty fast because it's like a game. Oh shit, if I sit, I get to play with that. Oh, awesome. And if that's the only time he gets it, it's going to be really worth the ask. If having an iPad is like a 10, like it's the highest desired thing he likes, I want to come up with something else that I could do just to get him to sit. Because if the iPad is the 10 and I need that now for elimination, I don't want him to get satiated with getting it just for sitting. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we'd like come up with something else that would be worth asking to sit. In the meantime, if the iPad is the high desired thing that we're going to use for actual elimination, it disappears. When we're actually ready to potty train, so assuming, let's say you started today, we would have him sit, right? Build out his times. Let's say we can get him built out by like Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Whenever you have 2 days to do it, that's when you actually start the potty training. And that's when the iPad reappears and you say, guess what? You go pupil or pee-pee on the potty. You're going to get 5 minutes for pee, 30 minutes for poo, whatever you want to make it. And the way it works is if you join our program, we customize a blueprint like this just for potty training, just for communication, just to reduce problem behaviors. And then each week we build on it. She's going to come back and say, okay, that worked, but for pee, but it's not working for poop. And then we work on another strategy for pee or poop. The way it's so buildable, that's why my program works so well. Every week we connect, we meet. It's so buildable that the outcome is just absolutely inevitable that your child will be potty trained. And then we can start working on communication because that's going to happen fast, especially if he really loves an iPad. But the first stop in all of this is to not invest in the thoughts that make us feel like shit, that make us feel frustrated and guilty, and say, I want to think, I know he's capable of this. And we just said he's smart. He knows what he's got to do to get access to that thing. Now I'm going to reverse that on him and say, all right, you know what you got to do to get access to this, right? It's going to change now. The rules of engagement are going to change. And if you want access, this is what you have to do. How does that feel, Nicole?
That sounds good. Sounds like a good plan. So don't give it to him to first work on the sitting. How long should I get him to sit for? 5 minutes?
First thing is baseline. If you ask him to sit, how long will he sit without an iPad? Because if we're iPad, this is the thing.
Maybe 30 seconds. I mean, we can get him to sit with a book for a little bit, but then he gets up. We can get him sit for
like what's a little bit, like 30 seconds? You got a baseline.
Probably like 30 seconds. Yeah.
Perfect. So now I'm going to increment that up. Say, okay, guess what, Abe? If you sit for 40 seconds, I had a mom do it with a bag of Skittles. She didn't give her a whole bag. She gave her 1 Skittle for every time she sat longer. Could be something easy like that. But whatever you use, we want to make it strictly only offered during potty training. That's why if the iPad's going to be the big reward for elimination, he no longer gets it anymore, except for actually eliminating our potty. And the best way to increase desire is to withhold. And somebody
like
just wrote
M&Ms then for like sitting, maybe something like
that. Yeah, but then that's it. No M&Ms for anything else. M&Ms disappear, and all candy, I would even say, would disappear because we want the candy to be associated with the iPad. And somebody just wrote this, and I think it's valuable to answer. The problem, though, is when the child becomes angry and starts being aggressive. Okay. So let's say you say, guess what? You don't get free access to the iPad anymore. It's for potty training. Anytime you go pee or poop, you can have the iPad. And the kid goes bananas, cries on the floor, hits, scratches, whatever. How long is that going to last? I'm not saying that we couldn't have quite a hurricane on our hands. We don't do this right as we're walking out the door. We don't do this when a new baby's home or we're changing jobs or we're going through a divorce. We want a potty train when everything around the house is pretty neutral and we can weather that storm. And there's really no problem here. If a child gets angry and they start hitting, it's our response to that that's going to make or break if this continues happening in the future. And here's what's going to happen. If a child gets aggressive or a child starts screaming and yelling for this iPad, it's a heightened state they can't sustain. Eventually, they're doing this because at some point, screaming and getting aggressive got this need met. Meaning, if I screamed and cried, somebody handed me something of value. And now I've created a habit. Now I've created a neural pathway, a connection. Every time I scream and cry, I get something. We have to break that. So when they act like that, we put our precious knickknacks away. We know the storm is coming and we weather it. And then eventually the child's going to stop. But this is our brain in action, you know, like if a tantrum happens, how will I survive it? This is going to make things crazy. But when I'm already preparing myself, like, no, I'm bringing this on purpose, because they can't communicate with and get what they want that way anymore. It changes everything. And I love a child that's addicted to electronics because I'm like, boy, they potty train the fastest, those guys. What? Oh, I just got to pee and poop and I get it. Okay, here, look. They'll drop a nugget. They'll learn how to drop a pellet just to get access to the iPad. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Is that helpful?
That is helpful. Yes, I'm going to give it a try after he comes home.
Absolutely. Yes, and this is what I do all day long in the program. You guys, if you're interested, we'll put the link in the chat. Join us. There's a special today. If you join, you get 5 months instead of 3. I guarantee results in my program. You leave with a potty trained child, or you stay until you do, or I'll give you your money back. And very important too, Nicole, make sure we're working on M&Ms. While we're working on the M&Ms, we start with holding the iPad. And then once it's time to potty train, it reemerges. And if we have more than one child that we need to potty train, we always work with the child that will land it first. And we want the other child to see the party. So like your daughter, you cannot let her have an iPad if he can't have an iPad, because he will kill her. So that's number one. Number two is that you want her to see, like, look at all this fun we're having. Every time Abe sits, he gets candy. Every time Abe poops, he gets the iPad. She's going to see it. She's naturally going to want in on that party. So what's going on over there? Nobody's giving me attention. I want that. See how that happens naturally. But pressure off you. Do not potty train 2 kids at once. You do 1 at a time. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
All right. Keep me posted on how it goes. All right. Great. All righty. So we will wrap for today. I'm going to answer a couple more questions. I'm in the UK. Will the calls be earlier at 6 or 7 o'clock? We actually have a call in the group coaching program on Saturday mornings. That would be great for somebody in Europe. We also have the mindset call is during the day. My calls are usually at night. If you ever can't make a call when you join the masterclass, you can always post your question and I'll answer it. You can go back and listen to it. You'll have lifetime access to all the call recordings. We do offer private coaching as well. Today is all about the masterclass. The bonuses are all about the masterclass. You can email us if you have any questions or you want to hear about private. But yeah, we try to move call times around so we can help everybody. And that's it. So I hope this was helpful for everyone. If you have any questions, you can always email me. I hope you join us. The masterclass, 5 months instead of 3, $1,997. We do offer those payment plans. It's literally $14 a day, and we're guaranteeing the results. Definitely check us out.